Hi, I'm Brad Forrest. This is my son, Anders Forrest. We're in the beautiful Hudson Valley. It's summertime. It's trout season. Welcome to Hudson Valley Forests. Where we are today, we're close to the Hudson River, in between the Catskill Mountains and the Hudson River. You know, a lot of people from across the country think of New York and they think New York City. And they don't even realize what New York State offers, and especially right here in the Hudson Valley. They think, well, New York State must be like New York City. And we're not even 2 hours north of there, and look around at how beautiful this environment is. I've also heard people, even from our own state of New York, say, oh, you're going fishing up there, isn't the water polluted up there? They think Hudson River must be the same as Hudson Valley, and quite the contrary. Yeah, the Hudson River has had its challenges and there are a certain level of pollutants and you have to be careful with the fish that you consume there. But all the surrounding creeks, especially where we are today, this is water that's coming from springs and from the mountains. It's crystal clear, beautiful, clean water, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with eating fish from it. A lot of the fish that are here are wild, native to this stream. Certainly some are stocked from the stocking program, which is great for anglers, but a lot of them are born here and are great, clean fish. I'm not that experienced with foraging yet. I know some stuff, because that's a whole nother thing about this area, that there's so much food growing that you can supplement a meal. Like we caught trout and then foraged ramps and fiddleheads and made an awesome meal out of those three things. Like, look at these mushrooms right here. Look at the color on that. One thing I do know is you don't want to eat those ones. They're actually called Signors. Hayes loves jumping down these rocks right here. Oh. No sinkers here, bud.
Why not?
You don't need it. It's just gonna sink to the bottom and not move. You want the worm to be floating through the water. We like using these smaller trout worms in these creeks as opposed to a larger night crawler. It's a little bit easier to float these smaller worms and to get a hook set. I'll give you this nice juicy one. This has big trout written all over it. I want to make sure we get the hook all the way up buried inside. Hey, bud.
Yeah?
Here you go.
Okay, thanks.
We actually removed all of our weight. We don't have any sinkers on at all, and we're just gonna float some worms right through the current here. So one of the things about not using any sinkers is without that extra weight on the line, it makes it a little bit tougher to cast. So you sort of just underhand pitch it to get that worm to where you want it to go. You see how there's a cut into the bank there?
Mm-hmm.
See underneath there?
Yeah.
The trout will sit right up underneath that. So like even that rock there kind of sticks out right in front of the bank.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Try to pitch it just above there, and then sort of just work it down a little bit, bump it down just a little. You'll see them, if they're in there, they'll come shooting out.
Oh, okay.
By keeping the bail open and just keeping my fingers on the line here, I can feel if anything starts to hit the worm, and I can also allow it to keep flowing down the creek as opposed to closing the bail and then limiting the amount of line that's going to come out. This way it can keep going. But I'm still in control and I can feel, and if it does get hung up on a rock or anything, I can give it a little tug, and it looks like a worm just floating down the creek. With the worm, we're pitching it out, we're letting it float, we're watching it go, just going through the current, sort of bouncing off the rocks, just looking like a worm floating through the water. So you have to pay attention a little bit more. You want to try to avoid getting snagged on anything. Well, there's a lot less casting than, say, with a lure where it's over and over again. A lure, you cast and then you retrieve it, right? You cast it and you reel it in. You're making it look like a fish swimming through the water. If you just cast it and let it float down, it would look like a hunk of metal that you would probably just get stuck in a rock in no time. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of the spot that we're fishing now and the certain spots that we're targeting. I'm looking at spots where bait's gonna come floating in and floating down, where the trout can sit and wait for their food to come. This first spot over here in the corner, where Anders is fishing right now, I see some faster moving water spilling over into a little bit of a deep pool in the corner there. And there's a big overturned tree right here with a root bed sticking out and a riverbank that's cut in, and I can just see the trout sitting up underneath that spot. So we're gonna give it a shot. Here we go. Beautiful little brown trout. This guy just hammered this thing. You can barely see it. Here we go. This guy is a little on the small side, but we're gonna go ahead and keep him. He had the hook way down in there, some damage was done, but plenty of meat on this guy. He's gonna be delicious. The water we're fishing in here is about 1.5 to 2 feet deep, and it's plenty deep to have trout in it. I mean, you can catch trout in much shallower water than this. Well, it's definitely a nice spot for these creek chubs to be waiting for a meal. They're all over my worm. It's a feeding frenzy. There's a lot of little fish, or these little chubs, these shiners that are attacking our worms here. They're only like 2.5 to 3 inches long. You can see them coming out from the rocks and hitting the worms, which is annoying because we don't want to catch those and they're messing with your bait.
Ah, I'm stuck.
Anders was trying to make a cast right out in front of the roots there. He's about 6 inches away from making a perfect cast, but oftentimes 6 inches off from making a perfect cast means you're stuck. But if you start tugging on this, you can see where he's pulling right towards his face. And I said, just be careful. You don't want to break your pole, so don't have your pole crooked so it's bending and maybe break. Your pole should be straight on and not, oh, and away from your face, right? So you're not pulling way up here, but down away from your face and pulling straight back, and your line will just snap and you'll get as much line as possible. Hopefully it breaks out closer to your hook there. You see where it snapped? You know, he lost his hook and the worm is still on the root there, but he didn't lose a ton of line. It snapped right up by the hook. And he didn't get hit in the face. This is one of those spots where you can really see. You could see the trout. If you just take time and stare into the water, you could see them. Having a hard time even having the worm float down the creek because there's so many little fish on it. Get off there. There's a trout. Look at that trout. Did you see him?
Oh yeah, I see him.
Just get it in there.
I'm gonna get him.
Oh yeah, I see him. He's right out. He's moving up towards yours now. Here we go. Come on. Come on. He's got it. Here we go. Here, let's bring him back over here a little bit. Step back a little bit. Just work him up on, I'll bring him right up onto the shore for you. There you go. Right in the lip. You think you can get it out?
Yeah, I can get the hook out.
Let's see, bud. Anders. Catch one of his friends. You have these big deep holes upstream that you see up here in those waterfalls, which are great spots to hold trout over through the summer months where it's deep and the water stays cold. Oh, it's like a set of stairs that are covered in slime. Anders, try to drop it right over here off the waterfall. I'm gonna go behind us to the top waterfall, okay?
Okay.
Good luck. I like that cast. We did put a little bit of weight on just to get to the waterfall. Got something on here.
You got one?
Yeah. Nothing huge. Little brown trout. Get a net on him. Try to keep him in the water here. All right, buddy. Get this hook out here for you. Pretty fish, but we're gonna let this one go. It's a bit on the small side. Off you go. Bye. Thanks for letting me catch you.
No luck over here.
Anders, you wanna come up here?
Sure.
It's very slippery right there. Careful. When you cast, watch out for that stick right there.
Okay.
Try to hit that waterfall. Oh, great cast, bud. Here we go.
Got one?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. Another brown trout. Ooh, got a lot of energy.
Big one?
It's a good fish. Nice. Get our net ready here. Oh, jumper.
Whoa.
Not ready to come in yet. Nice, set in the mouth there. Anders, I wish you hooked this one.
How big is it?
We'll say this size here, it's about a 12 and a half, 13-inch brown trout. It's a perfect size for eating. We don't keep all the fish we catch, but when we know we're gonna bring them home and have a meal that night, we'll keep them. We release most of the fish, but a lot of them are stocked. You know, they're put here for anglers to be able to catch and keep and enjoy. It's gonna be our third trout that we're keeping for the day. We're gonna go home now, get the fish all cleaned up, and start cooking. Stay tuned. Josiah will say. You okay?
I'm okay.